Hey, so it's been a while since I've done a video, and maybe it's time for some updates. There's been a lot of changes. I've been exceedingly busy, and I just haven't had time. YouTube is the last thing on my mind when I'm doing stuff, and with a full-time job, I'm not there. So let's I'm over here at the pens, so let's flip around and I'll point at some things and explain them. I feel like a real aviary now. So anyway, here we go. So here we are. We got the pens. Still need to build more houses. We're almost there. We got probably another 6 to do, and then we'll be done-ish. You know, a project's never done until it's done. But we got plenty of chickens and ducks. I've been brooding these guys for probably 6 weeks now, and they were all in a brooder, and it was time for them to get the hell out. They were making a mess, and I walk into my brooder and there's chickens everywhere because they bust out the feeders and go through the feed holes, and it was ridiculous. But we got some of this stuff installed today. This is probably the trashiest net that I've ever bought. It was 50 foot wide by 150 foot long, and it only cost $100. The problem with this is it's really thin, but it'll do what I need it to do. You know, I'm used to buying 50 by 50 foot for $400. I just figured I'd give this a shot and save a few dollars. But anyway, so we got this netting up, and it's all between all these poles all the way down to that Japanese maple there. So we got, I don't know, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 runs, 6 runs covered in this stuff. So what this will help do is prevent the owls and the hawks from coming in here and murdering my chickens. I lost a gosling over there the other day to an owl. Came down and ripped his head off. That wasn't very good. So we got a whole bunch of chickens here. What is it in this pen? I got a whole bunch of chickens that don't belong in here, like them whites and a couple of these actual reds or Rhode Island reds. There should be these ones that are kind of light colored in here, and that should be it. Those would be the Isa Browns or Cinnamon Queens or Sex Links, whatever you want to call them. But escape chickens. We don't have the netting up between the pens, but we'll end up getting another run of netting and going vertical on these to keep the chickens where they belong. You can see in the back there I got a waterer. Let's see if we zoom in a little bit. Quality on this is terrible. We got a waterer. It's hooked up to a water line. Every pen for the next 4 pens has a water, and then I ran out of waters. So I need to order more of those. So everybody has continual water now. It's great when everything's not freezing. I tried building these things and the geese just knocked the cups off. So then I end up losing a whole bunch of water. So that's real cool. We got these 25-gallon trash cans. So we fill them full of feed, put port feeders in, and everybody eats all the time. It's glorious. See, that's the biggest thing about this netting. Get your shit caught in it. Got some free-range beer cans here. This is where they all hang out. Most of the ones that I was talking about are all mashed in there. They haven't quite figured out how to roost yet, but they'll get it. And we got an angry mama goose in there to help protect some stuff. Oh, goodness. And since I lifted this, my shovel fell in. Get the hell out of here. Put that back down. So it's the same for the next 4 pens. We have next 3 pens, sorry. We have water over there, feeder. We have some waterfowl, young goslings, crossbreeds, runner ducks, pecans. There's a lone Muscovy in there. Nothing in this pen yet, but you know, I can put something in this pen now because we have a water. There's no feeder. That's another broken water. It'd be all right. We have netting over this one. Netting over this one. See that netting there? We got one more, and this has a real long face that we have to trim off. Weird thing about netting is when you stretch it hard, it doesn't want to stretch this way. So we learned that. Whoops. That's why that face is so long, because we pulled back. Now we have a long face there we have to trim. Whatever. We have a shit pile there. So that's kind of composting doing its thing. Some of you have asked, what the hell is this thing? And that's a very valid question to ask, because what the hell is this thing? So it's an office trailer. It was a free office trailer, so I can't complain about the price. You know, free fitty, right? Free fitty. So it is a total piece of crap, and it's probably from the 70s, and that's fine. I don't care what year it's from. But we got some single pane windows there that the wind blew out half of one, so that busted out when I got it here. Water's been running down and trashing that and rotting through the floor, so that's cool. We got an air conditioner up there. It has a bird nest in it. Some inductive heating in the bottom. Both of those will go. We'll close up these windows with tin, and I'm going to build a wall from here, this doorway, over to there. And this will be my networking gear side, so hub switches, routers, computers, all that stuff. Kind of like a central hub right here in the middle of the yard with cover, with power, with all that good stuff. So I can hook the eventual cameras that will go in each pen into this. Pig barn will get it. We got another free-range broom and shovel over there. You'll like this. So this ball here isn't supposed to look like that. When I went to hook it up, the latch that was on here was all broken off, and I'm like, I'm not hauling that down the road like that. So I got it's called a pintle hitch, or it's meant to hook to what's called a lunette ring, which is just a ring. It's used for farm equipment and stuff, but my pintle hitch, when you put it in here, it's got a 2-inch ball and it's got a clamp on top. So I put the 2-inch ball in there and went to put the clamp down, and there's a whole mass of metal here, and that wasn't closing. So I had brought my Sawzall and my angle grinder and stood there in the parking lot where this thing was parked and hacked all this shit off and clamped it down, and it still wouldn't go down. So I beat the shit out of it with a hammer, and it clamped. And I went on my merry way home on probably the windiest day in that month of Maryland. And I got it home. This thing was swaying all over the frickin' road. One of the people I sell my chicks to for reptile feed was behind me, and she's like, "You're a freaking crazy ass redneck driving that thing around." I said, "Yep, sure am." So we got our pigs. Let's see. The babies are cruising around somewhere. I have no idea where the hell they are. They're probably in that barn there. Here comes Fatty. There's a piglet. So the piglets are coming up on 7 weeks old, I believe. Oh, there's another one. The other two should be behind them shortly. Coming up on 7 weeks old. There are 4 of them. Of course, they're all males. Torvy here was a terrible mother. She had 5 pigs. She abandoned them, and they all got cold and died. That's how it goes with pigs, I guess. So she abandoned them, they died. Ragnar is kind of skinny. He's not doing his job and foraging. Everybody else is good, but I've been feeding some hog grower to put some weight back on him because he looks terrible. We got to fix him. But everybody else has good weight. You know, everybody looks good, except Ragnar. I don't know what his problem is. We're going to fix Ragnar, though. We got all my birds following me. So I had my MPIP test, and I am avian influenza and pleurum typhoid free. Counted out all my birds. I have 165 waterfowl, and I had 65 chickens. Well, I no longer have 65 chickens. There's a reason for that. There's a good reason for it. All them chickens were in this. So I don't know how it came in. I think it came in on a hatchery order that I got from Stromberg's. think Stromberg's contracts out to sub farms or something. Well, all these birds that were in here had Mycoplasma gallisepticum. You notice there's no birds in here now. Mycoplasma is the reason why. The best way I can describe mycoplasma, it's also called chronic respiratory disease. Best way I can describe it is like suddenly, you catch a cold and then the next day you got fucking cancer. That's the best way I can describe it. Because what would happen is the birds would get stressed and then they'd be dead. Mycoplasma is one of those diseases that pop up when there's stress. So if the lights weren't doing what they were supposed to do, or the pigs were running around, bothering the chickens, or they didn't get inside, they got stressed, or they have foul mite or something like that, they get stressed out, then I end up with dead chickens. So I'm sure some of you saw me on the camera there carrying out some dead birds every so often, and that's why. So done with it. Done with that shit. They all went in into a crate, and they went to a man who's okay with having MG. He just wants them for the eggs. He doesn't plan on breeding or any of that good stuff. So he's using them for eating eggs. That's fine. It's great. Perfect. So I didn't have to kill all those off. There were some rare breeds in there like leech fighters, erminettes, IM Katawas, stuff like that, but they all freaking had MG. So gone. All those birds that were over there in those pens, those will be the birds that will repopulate this. Now, the good thing about MG, it only needs 3 days of cool down to not be around. It doesn't live more than 3 days off the bird. But regardless, what I'm going to do is give this probably a month or two of cool down. I'm also going to get in there and spray with bleach. I'm going to spray with chlorhexidine. And I'll probably spray it with a light coating of diesel to stick everything to the wall so it doesn't spread around and all that good stuff. I'm going to strip that floor out, put a good floor in there. And we're going to make that a little cozy coop for some chickens. So no more of this MG crap. I can't have it. I need to produce eggs. Simple as that. With this restaurant thing I have going, eggs need to come out of that coop. They got to. Simple as that. And I can't have birds that aren't producing eggs. So the nice thing is Mycoplasma gallisepticum does not affect waterfowl. They are not carriers for it. It does not live in waterfowl, but there is a second one. It's called Mycoplasma cinnae, and that affects waterfowl. I don't believe I have Mycoplasma cinnae, but I can't be sure. I have to call off a waterfowl to have it tested and find out. I haven't seen any symptoms of MS, so I think we're good. Nobody's kicking off and dying randomly or anything like that with the waterfowl. Now, you might be looking at these waterfowl thinking, what the hell, why are they red? Well, that's another case of these birds getting into my paprika. The Muscovy find the box, they rip a hole in the bag that's in it, and then the geese and everybody get into it and eat. Little opportunists is what they are. Little jerks. So the other big thing that I have been working on, this is a big one. Just brace yourselves. It's crazy. It's awesome. This is what I plan to do with 3 of these. 3 of these connexes will become this, more or less. So we have a bunch of insulation on the wall here. These are door panels. Well, they're cutouts of doors where they put a window. So they're like 1.5 inches thick. They have a fiberglass coating, so they're durable. We got those all coating the room. Nice insulation. Now, insulation works 2 ways. It works in the cold and it works in the heat. Keeps the heat out, keeps the cold out, keeps the heat in, keeps the cold in. So it's a good thing to have insulation even when you have a house in the middle of the desert, because it keeps the heat out. It also keeps the inside tempered. Yes, tempered to your liking. So we have a whole bunch of chicks here. We got to refill their water on the goslings. So these are all These are all fancy chickens, same as these. These are going to be partially what repopulates me on chickens. Then we have Farmer Surprise over here, which is just a bunch of mixed chickens. Got a couple goslings in there and some 4 black Muscovy ducks. So we got a bunch of birds, whole bunch. Good selection too. I'm selling these as they come. If they don't all sell, it doesn't matter. You know, I'm selling these for $5 right now. And, you know, it doesn't matter to me if people don't buy them at $5 because the thing is, these are the breeds that people want for eggs. So the older they get, the more they cost. So you either buy them at $5 or buy them at 15 or 20 later, right? Doesn't matter. But back to the temperature control. I got a vent fan here with some louver doors that open and close. We have an Inkbird controller. And the nice thing about this Inkbird controller is if I set it at 95 or 97 with, I think it's set at 95 with a 3-degree difference. Yeah, that makes sense because nothing's running right now. So 3-degree difference. We have heating and cooling. So the cooling side goes to the vent fan and the heating side goes to this. This is a way to heat this thing for free. What this is, you have 2 green lines there and they're a water loop. So they go to my boiler and they cycle hot water into this. And this will cycle on and off the fan in the back and blow hot air out of it. I don't have a pump control on this, which means there's always hot water circulating through this, which is fine because over time the temperature may dip. And this will keep that temperature at a relatively stable constant. And if it gets too hot, boom, that kicks on, independent of whether or not that heater here has come on. So now the thing is, excuse me, got something in my throat. So now the thing is, when I turned this heat on and it was cold a couple weeks ago, like dipping back down in the 30s for whatever reason, the heat would turn on, and about midline here, it would be hotter than the hinges of hell up top, and still 60, 40, something like that down below at the bottom, where all the chicks are. So I put in these circulation fans, and I got to clean up this wire, and it's going to strangle me one day. But these circulation fans are like your fan in your house. They suck air from the top and pull it down to the floor. Where all that warm air is, they blow it down. So these guys stay warm. I don't need heat lamps. I don't need heat brooder panels. I don't need any of this stuff. We turned all this stuff on, and we put these in here. They were day olds, and some of them still had very visible yolk sacs in their belly, like they were still very bulgy. And these guys did great. None of them died. I think I lost 2, but they were a little wonky to begin with. So there's, I think, 120 birds in here. So they did great with the temperature in here being the way it is. The only change I need to make is on the back of this thing. I got to put you can see here, it's already starting to build up, the dust. We can still see through it, so that's good. It's going to blow, but I need to put a plenum on the back of this to hold a filter, because I don't want to keep cleaning this thing out and I don't want to get it jammed up. I don't think that fan's waterproof, so we have to put a plenum filter back here and filter the air. So yeah, you see there's the hot water lines, and there's run to my boiler, and my boiler there, tons of free wood. Yeah, it's pine. Boiler don't care. It runs along the fence here into the boiler. I do need to refabricate the cover there to fit those lines, but I'm not in a rush to do that because honestly, I gotta unhook all this and pick the thing up and fix a leak underground, and then I'll worry about that. So this is mostly what's been sucking up all my time, handling all this stuff. So yeah, I stand a bucket up and the ducks kick it right back over. It looks like It looks like I'm a slob here with all this shit laying around, but I promise I set it up right, and then they come by and destroy all the stuff looking for food. Freaking jerks. So that's about it for now. You know, all this and then a full-time job. So, you know, I'm busy. I don't really have time to sit in front of a computer much. I think I sat down yesterday and tried to play a game, and I maybe sat there for a half hour, and I was like, I can't do this. I got stuff to do. So, oh, and then the other thing that's been sucking up my time was at the end of last month, early this month, we had a heavy rain that persisted for about 3 days, and it just freaking rained. It was kind of like a slow, constant just rain, and my basement flooded. So I knew about this problem, and I knew I was going to have to fix it. I just didn't know when, and this year showed me that I got to fix it. So I've been jackhammering in my basement and digging out clay and dirt and all that stuff. Found out that the previous owner before me, I guess, decided to save some money and didn't install a French drain or any gravel underneath the slab. Until yesterday, I was pretty confident he didn't actually install a foundation underneath the concrete brick wall. But I did a little more digging, and he did that. So thank goodness I can actually waterproof and, you know, put a French drain in. So yeah, been jackhammering, drilling, digging, all that kind of stuff. So I've been busy. I've been real busy, unfortunately, and it just seems to not stop. But now that in that tan shed back behind this thing, there's another shed back there. That shed right there. I had all those chickens in, but now that they're out, I don't, because I would have to go in there and feed them, and it would take a lot of time to feed them and clean and make sure everybody's watered and fed and all that nonsense. Now that they're out, I have a lot more free time. Even with these guys in the Connex here now, it's not as bad as it was in that shed. So a lot more free time now, a lot more me time, I guess, a lot more time to do stuff for the wife, complete the honeydew list, I guess. Yeah, I got one of those now. So yeah, that's it. I hope this was a good update, I guess, and more to come at some point. I don't know. We'll see. See ya.